I was not ready to become a mother. I mean, everybody in the family thought the biological clock is ticking, and my peers and everybody in my, circle, they were all having babies, right? And that's when people ask me questions that, when are you planning to have a baby, right? And I myself wasn't ready, like, even though my husband was ready more than me.
And I got to bring my son around my coworkers during dinner. And so I am really grateful that I have come to know companies that truly support motherhood.
Once your child is 10 years old, he'll have his own friends, his own circle, his own things to do. And that's the day when you will regret this thing, that I left my career for these small, small things that won't even matter in the long run.
So are you planning a baby? And she said that, how is that relevant, at this stage? I'm applying for, a job. Do you think is that relevant at this point? And she said, yeah, we want people, who will be able to give the 100%.
I think my son is 3.5. He doesn't know the meaning of going to office and working. For him, this room is office. And
So, hi, hello, and welcome to the podcast. I am super, super excited that you guys are part of this podcast. This is a special podcast that we're doing with all three of you beautiful women, which is to talk about your journey as a mother, and also, someone who's making it work on her own, who's either in a corporate setup or, doing something of your own. And thank you so much for being a part of this. One of the reasons I really wanted to do this podcast was that, I was getting a lot of queries about, what about the toxicity that comes with, women coming back to work. And that's been such a, I've heard it a lot from my colleagues, when they are expecting, they are working with this in their mind that I'm going to leave my job. And that's what people are expecting from them. So recently, one of my friends had applied somewhere, and the person asked her, "So, are you planning a baby?" And she said that, how is that relevant? At this stage, I'm applying for a job. Do you think is that relevant at this point? And she said, yeah, we want people who will be able to give the 100%, as if that stops you from it. And of course, there's going to be a period where you're not going to be available. But that can hold true for someone going through a health issue, someone going through vacation, or anything at all, really. And that struck me into thinking, what's been the journey like? And like I said, that this is not something I've experienced on my own. So I wanted to really get people from different walks of life, and all three of you are so different from each other. So I was really excited to hear about your journey. And all of you made it. Britney's come here at 8 in the morning. You both, are sacrificing your Saturday evening, and we know how much that means. So thank you so much for doing this. We're going to go one by one and, go through your introductions. The main crux of the conversations today is going to be around what happened when each one of you re-entered the workplace, and how it has impacted your mental health, because in a good and bad way, both. I'm not saying that's always must have been hectic for you, but there are, times when you're so proud of yourself for like really pulling it through. And, what's been your journey like? So we're going to go through different questions, and we'll start with introductions first. Yeah. So Britney, would you like to start?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Britney Clark Murray. I am based in the United States, in the state of Texas. I am a wife, newly married, a mom of a 19-month-old. I am a partnerships manager at a San Diego coders boot camp, and I'm also co-owner of a diversity, equity, inclusion business with one of my partners.
So here's a little bit about myself. My name is Mona Lisa Panda. I am based out of Bangalore, and I am a mother of a 3.5-year-old daughter, Sarah, who is very, very hyperactive and super active. And I am a side hustler. I have a full-time job. Along with it, I do create content on social media. So I'm a content creator, and I'm a social media lead at a e-commerce platform in India.
My name is Sonal, and I'm a content manager in a tech firm at present. But I also consult tech startups. I help them create content that sells, that converts for them, and they see it as not an expense but investment. And that's the goal when I work with startups. So about being the mother, I think the major shift in my career came when I got married and moved to a different city. And right after marriage, in 6 months, I got pregnant and then had a kid. And then I was just trying to figure out what to do in the new city because I was coming from Delhi to Ahmedabad. And back then, like 5 years back, content and social media were not the it terms, I would say,
Yeah.
here. And I had to struggle my way into the industry here in this city, just trying to figure out how things gonna work. And then I got pregnant. I conceived. And I think that's when I started. I did not stop working because I had a few clients from my past jobs that wanted to work with me. So I continued working throughout my journey and became a mother. And then I think there were these times when I saw that work life, what exactly work life balance means. When people
Yeah.
talk about work life balance, what exactly it is? Because that's when you have a child to take care of, you have a family to take care of, you have your work, your career, your husband, the in-laws, the house, that's when the term work life balance strikes. Okay, now I need to learn more about it and figure out my way. So yeah, I think this conversation that we're gonna have today is I hopefully it will help many women out there, some kind souls, to maybe not give up if they're thinking about giving up, if they're struggling on like day-to-day basis and thinking, okay, this is not possible. I would say everything is possible. We have our own journeys. Maybe our journeys can help a few women out there to make the right choice
Absolutely.
for themselves as a being, not
Yeah.
as a mother, maybe as a wife, but as a being for themselves. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was lovely, Sonal. And that's the purpose of this for everyone to know that I've seen my mother doing this. My mother has always been working, and all of our mothers, I'm sure, and taking care of us. But what does it mean in a context, right now where so for my mother, it wouldn't have been so difficult to give up a lot of things because she thought that she doesn't have to be like the either the breadwinner of the house, or she doesn't have to, walk up the ladder. So, but right now, all of you, say each one of you are not going to compromise. You don't intend to compromise on what you're doing professionally, and and then there's this adorable baby, looking for your attention. So how has it been like? And we're going to just deep dive right into the first question that I have for all three of you is that how was the journey like in terms of the moment maybe when you got to know, and there are certain decisions to be made, and you have worked in corporate as well. So how was it like for you to actually make the jump, and then that and cut to coming back, to take the decision of coming back and not being like, okay, I want to be, and there's nothing against women who want to like stay home after the babies, but yeah, Mona, I didn't see your raised hands. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so interestingly, now that we're talking, and I should make this confession here, this platform, because there are other mothers as well who could relate to this state of mind that I had at a point when I was not ready to become a mother. I mean, everybody in the family thought the biological clock is ticking, and my peers and everybody in my, circle, they were all having babies, right? And that's when people ask me questions at family weddings, at functions, and when are you planning to have a baby, right? And I myself wasn't ready. Like, even though my husband was ready more than me, I wasn't ready. But there came a time when I had to, after doing a lot of decision making that went behind it, and finally decided that I need to take the plunge. And I discovered that I'm pregnant. But the reason why I was not coming to terms with the fact that I would want to get into the motherhood journey was because, I had this really this notion in mind when I had seen my mother being the working mother when I was growing up as a child. And I had this notion in my mind that I need to be that perfect mother who can do that balancing act. And I somehow felt maybe I might fail right? And that's the reason why I was trying to, push this decision of mine. And then I was, like, a couple of years went by, but finally when I decided, and it was not an easy decision, but a lot of support was something that I got from my family. Of course, my husband, my in-laws, my mom, they've been very, very supportive. So the moment I discovered, the day I got to know I was pregnant, that wasn't the, generally, you have so many emotions that you witness at that moment. I was just thinking about how am I going to live up to the expectation of a perfect mother, and I had a meltdown of sorts. But then I accepted it slowly, because something happens, right, within you. And it's something that, I don't know, it happens within you, in something strikes you within, and that motherhood instinct suddenly kicks in. The moment you feel that there's a human being inside you, right? Like a tiny human growing within you. And yeah, and then you kind of decide, okay, let's see how this goes. And if you have the support from your family, I think you get that a little understanding, and you get that little clarity. Okay, this will be fine.
I really resonate with what Mona shared, because my ideology was, if I get pregnant, this is going to distract or slow me down from my career path. And so when I learned that I was pregnant, it was something that I wasn't necessarily planning, me and my partner, but it was something that something turns on in your brain, in your body, that says, I am now responsible for another human being. And to me, that was a beautiful responsibility. And so what it happened for me was like this energizing mode that I quickly shifted into. So I was working for a telecom company at the time in sales. And so that was like 25, maybe 30 calls a day, a lot of outreach. And so I started to look at the big picture of, what do I want my life to look like when my baby is earthside? And so I started to look for other careers, which landed me at an education management startup 6 months pregnant. And so going through that interview process, it wasn't something that I disclosed, because I did not feel that it was necessary, or it was going to matter in terms of the decision. I, as a professional, am showing up and presenting the work that I've done, not that I'm also a mom. So I didn't disclose that information until an offer was made to me. And I particularly targeted this company because they had 3 months of paid maternity leave, and the company was fully remote. So for me, it was more strategy. Yes. Once our son gets here, I want to have time to really transition into being a mom. And so I didn't want to go back to work after 6 weeks. And I intentionally wanted to work with a company that was family oriented. 2 months after having my son, the company had a conference in Utah, and they welcomed nursing moms. So they allowed me to bring my son and my husband. And so I was able to express milk and take it to the hotel room for my son. And I got to bring my son around my coworkers during dinner. And so I am really grateful that I have come to know companies that truly support motherhood. And it wasn't discouraging for me, because I knew that all of me was going to be accepted as a professional, but also as a mom.
That's amazing, because if your company has such policies made for you, I'm not sure if that's the scene in India. You guys tell me if they really accommodate that much. Accommodating nursing mothers is a very big deal, and
challenging in India.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very challenging. So I'm not sure how much they accommodate. But what is the usual amount of leave that you get when you're after you deliver? Do you get a certain amount of leaves?
I think it's 3 months. But now even fathers get leaves. So now 3 months the mother after you have had the baby, and 3 months the father gets leave. So that pretty much helps, because first 6 months are the most tough phases. One of the tough phases, I would say, because the baby is up all night. They wake up every 2 hours for the feeds, and that can be very taxing on the mother, especially if you are working also, because every morning you have to get up and start working. You have to log in and log out, and there are certain tasks that you have to finish. So if you're up all night, and if the father gets leave for 3 months, so he can take care of the baby, certain hours, and then you can balance your work certain hours. So I think I was lucky enough to be a part of an industry where we can work from home,
Mm.
right? So content creation, content management, you have teams in office, you can handle them through Zoom calls and through meets and everything. So I was just lucky enough to be in an industry.com industry where I did get like hours, like I could manage my hours according to my needs. I would wake up early in the morning, assign tasks to my team, take a meeting like midday, and then log out, take a nap, eat my lunch, or feed my baby, and then do other chores, and then log in again in the evening, log in for more hours at night because I'm anyway up. So so just being at home and working remotely helped, and then COVID happened. So by
Yeah.
the time I was supposed to join work full time, COVID happened, and that remote working stretched,
Extended.
right? And it
Oh, you
just
had
helped
remote work.
things. Yes, it just helped things. But now I think my son is 3.5. He doesn't know the meaning of going to office and working. For him, this room is office, and his
Yeah.
room is just right next to this room. He walks in any time of the day, and if he sees I'm in a meeting, he'll just walk out. He'll go and tell his dada, Mama is in meeting. So I think at many levels, this remote working has helped ease things out for the new mothers.
So, so you guys are like, when all of you talk about this, is there any sense of a guilt attached? And I'm sure because when I was naming this podcast and I said M for motherhood, M for me also, right? The idea was that every time you hear motherhood, the idea is to become a giver, and your only identity, the dominating identity of who you are, is being a mother. Other aspects of where you need your time between family and baby. Please, Brittany, go ahead. You raised your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, when I just heard that word guilt slip out of your mouth, yes, and it's so interesting because sometimes during that transition of going back to work, you feel like there isn't a right answer. You make a choice, but you still don't know if that was the right choice. And so for me, after I had my son, his name is Cameron, I kept him home for 7 months. So I was working full time. I was nursing him. Sometimes during meetings, I would just have my camera neck level up, or I would have to turn my camera off. And then just this, I don't know, maybe it was a Wednesday or Thursday, I just felt this extreme exhaustion of trying to be a full-time mom to him and then also work at the same time. So I had met a lady previously who actually owned a home daycare that was like maybe 10 minutes driving from me. And I called her and I was like, if I don't get my son like in a daycare, I think I'm going to go crazy. But there was guilt because I wanted to keep him home for a year, but I just knew that I wasn't serving him by always being on my computer. And I would just kind of just have him in this playpen where he couldn't really, be engaged in too much. There's only so many toys you can play with for 8 hours. And so there was guilt that I was a bad mom because I didn't keep my word to keep him home for an hour, or that guilt that I was choosing my career over my son. So there are a lot of thoughts that come in your head that I think the surrounding culture has told you that you have to pick. But I innately know that I am a career woman and I'm ambitious and I have goals and I have creativity that I want to express in a collaborative setting. So the guilt showed up. And so how I was able to walk out of the guilt was I called like 5 other moms who worked, and I cried to them and I talked to them and I said, and I got advice from them because they all had to do it too. And their children are like 2 and 5 and 7. So varying ages. I just reached out to mom and said, hey, can you help me walk through this? Really emotionally and mentally, because you can tell yourself so many thoughts, but a lot of them just simply aren't true. So I'm going to continue to work from an AM perspective. Like I'm a mom and a professional, not that I have to choose, because even when you're not with your child, your mind is still with your child. So you never turn that off, right? So you're always being a mom.
That's true. That's true. So actually, even at home, when you work from home, and let's say you are in a meeting and your child is crying in the next room, right? And then you're not in that position to just leave the meeting and go and attend your child, and someone else will come and handle the child. But then inside you, there's something buzzing and telling you to just leave your seat and just go and take care of your child. So you're always torn between what should I do in this moment. I'm ignoring my child. So there was this one moment, and I felt so guilty. I had tears right after that meeting. Okay, so we were having a meeting, and we were like 15 people in that meeting, and and it was my turn to speak. Right, I had to present some strategy, and I had it all framed in my head, like line by line presentation. So he just walked in, and I just did like this, like don't just did this to him, and he left. He did not feel bad. Maybe he just went out and started like playing with his dad and all. But I felt bad. It was the mom's guilt that I had to do like this to my child, just stay out. I felt so bad. After my meeting, I just went out and I told my husband, I think I should quit. And he was like, no, don't do that. You really love your work. You really love I'm someone who really enjoy working. It's not something I have to do. I just enjoy working. So he said, don't overthink. Don't worry. It happens. And what will happen? Once your child is 10 years old, he'll have his own friends, his own circle, his own things to do. And that's the day when you will regret this thing, that I left my career for these small, small things that won't even matter in the long run. What will matter in the long run? So he told me all of those things, and I felt a bit better after that. But yes, this mom guilt is very real. Even if no one is telling you, your own heart and soul are telling you that you've done something wrong, because maybe you are conditioned that way. Maybe, right? You are conditioned to feel a certain way if you don't match up to certain expectations that you have seen growing up.
And sometimes when you are in that fix, right, you will have to choose one. There have been times when my daughter has been extremely sick, and at the same time I would be having something very, very important going on at work. But yeah, of course, the motherhood bit, of course, takes precedence when you have a situation like that. But the guilt, of course, it's there. Like it's there when you are maybe at work, full day, you're working. Maybe you've not seen your baby when you've left for work in the morning because the baby is still sleeping. And you only get to see her when you're back. There are times when I've been back home and she's still sleeping and she's not seen me for 2 days straight. And that's when you're like, okay, and then we had this joke in the house where maybe she wouldn't remember me anymore. But it was just a joke, but it's not funny, you know what I mean? So these are the things when you are like, you're still at work, but you are scanning through your camera, which is at home. There's a nanny taking care of your baby, but you still, there's something at the back of your mind because you want to know if your baby is fine back home, even though your mom is there taking care of your baby, your mom-in-law is there taking care of the baby, but you're not there. Right. And you can't be there because you are also a career woman. You are a career woman. You are a mom, and you can't be at home and work at the same time. Of course, the pandemic, the remote working, all of that has definitely helped quite a lot. But I have returned to work, and now it's a hybrid sort of a setup for me at the moment. Initially, it was pretty bad when I was still nursing my baby. I had the most difficult nursing journey because I had to resort to full-time expressing and feeding my baby. That was a terrible, terrible journey because I was at work and every couple of hours I need to go to they had created a makeshift sort of a nursing room where I could just go and express milk and bring back milk from my daughter. And that time I used to work in a radio station. We were speaking about how the work places are they compatible with a new mom or a working mom or a nursing mother, right? Some places are not in India. So I was very, very lucky to have managers and bosses who were working with me. They created a makeshift sort of a place in the office where I could just go and pump. But you had this in your mind. After lunch, maybe you're thinking, okay, maybe 5 o'clock is my slot to just go and express milk, and 6 o'clock is when I get back home, and again you need to come back home and express milk, and in the night also you're sitting and expressing milk because next morning you need to stock up the milk in the fridge and leave, right? That's the task, that's like the struggle and the journey that you witness in the beginning of your motherhood. But I think that kind of makes you very strong, and then you know that whatever life throws at me as a mother, I'll be able to take it.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I think when it comes to raising a baby, it's a two people. Like if you have a partner, then their support is needed, and in terms of family also, because um, I think one of the major things that you hear from people is that now you're a mother, do you want to do you really want to go back to work, or you want to spend more time with the baby, and that does that impact you? How so basically how supportive have people been around you, and in terms of your partner or your family or whoever it is that's played a major role that way?
I think in my case, I was again lucky enough to have a partner who always wanted a wife who has her own career, maybe, right? And he married me for like, there were several reasons, I guess, but this was one of the reasons. He would see me as someone who has created her niche, maybe, and he wanted that kind of a partner with whom he can discuss things, his work, his ideas, his startup. He has a start. We actually met through work. He had a startup and he wanted someone to take care of the content department. And he found me on Google, like through Google search. And that is how we met. And we
Um,
worked together for like few months. And then we thought, okay, like we are compatible with each other in everything, even the work life. He's from tech, I'm from tech and everything. So he wanted that kind of a partner. And even today, if I tell him, okay, now I want, so I'm thinking about many other things to start now. Now that Kian is like three plus, soon he'll go to class one, he'll start like 6 hours of school. I'm thinking to do many other things as well. And he has never said no to anything. You would laugh if I'll tell you, like 2 days back, I saw this Mrs. India ad, and in like, just in humor, I told him, can I apply for it? And he just said, yes, go. And
yeah.
I'm like, are
Yeah.
you kidding? I'm just kidding with you. You're like, go apply to Mrs. India. So, he has been that kind of a partner who's been
Supportive.
supportive. He never says no. He never even asks. If
Hmm.
I just have to go and tell him, okay, I have this meeting, these are my hours, you will have to take over and take care of the child. And he has never said no.
Hmm.
So I think that is one support that has helped me throughout my journey from getting married, changing my city, to becoming pregnant. I was on bed rest for entire 9 months. I just wasn't allowed to even walk. So, but I worked, and he supported. He helped me throughout. I had my baby. He was there throughout my journey, and like I've touched wood, I've been lucky in that way. So yeah, having a partner
Excellent.
who supports you, maybe I think with new couples, I would say it's something you should talk about before you get married. It's very, very important. These things don't happen. Don't put them in the back burner. Don't think I'll figure this out after marriage. No, figure this out before marriage. Are you going into a house who would support your career? And supporting means helping you with things, helping you with chores, and
Absolutely.
not asking you to do everything at home, then you do whatever you want to do. No. That is
Absolutely.
I would say 75% of people in India work. That if you want to have a career, you have to finish all your chores by 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and then you do whatever you want to do. So talk about these things in detail before you get married, I would say.
Absolutely.
And then you
Yeah.
go ahead.
You made a very interesting point there when you said that the fact that they don't just have to accept you as someone who's going to have a career, but also be ready to willing to help, to extend support, because just acceptance is not going to make it easier for you. They have to be a part that, like you talk about your husband, and like how you guys are going to mention how your family and partners help. So how important is that support, in your journey, in terms of them taking care of certain responsibilities, and now we are at least moving towards a setup where both the partners take equal responsibility, unlike what our parents were going through, where the women were supposed to be the only ones taking care of the baby. So Brittany, please go ahead.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate to have a partner who was excited to be a dad. So we would do, all the visits. He wanted to be there. While I was pregnant, the sonogram. He's like more excited, than I am. And so I think it's important, especially when you're dating. Do you desire to be a father, and what does that look like? Because you can have a partner that may be a father but not present, or maybe they haven't seen how to be present. And so I see how active my husband is. He has taught me things about motherhood, and changing diapers, and just really being there, developing our son, when he started his crawling and walking journey, really being supportive in that way. And so it's been really great to have him, but also both sides of our family are family oriented. So, as you're dating, to go to, the family meetup, or go to meet, maybe the cousin, or just to see how family dynamics work. Because when you're in partnership with your husband, but also his family. You can set boundaries if it isn't healthy, but it's still very great to know how are children nurtured in this family, generation and dynamic. And so my mom was really supportive of my, career journey. She offered to come to my home and stay here for a week, while I just get caught up on meetings and get caught up on doing, at the time I was doing a lot of research. And so it's really great to have a support system. But now that I don't live close to my mom, I've built a community of probably 3 other women. 2 of them don't have children of their own. So they love to, maybe one time, my husband and I, he has his own business. We were caught up in trying to get some things done. So she was able to go pick my son up from daycare and then just bring him to my house. So I think if you're not surrounded by family, you can create a community of people that do support what you're trying to build with your husband, or even with your own career. And that way it doesn't all fall on you, because there's still scheduling the doctor appointments. My son goes to the chiropractor. There's always the outside things that also come with loving and nurturing a child as well. So I try to be intentional to sometimes outsource some of those things so that I can be really present to the things that matter to me, like loving on my son and teaching him, how to express his emotions in a healthy way, or taking him to the library. So I try to focus on the things that are really key, that I feel I want to instill in him. But if I can get someone to maybe help me clean the house or something like that, then I may outsource that and just get, a cleaning service to come in as well.
That's amazing. I think taking as much support as you can and being very vocal about the kind of help that you need makes a lot of difference. I'm learning from all 3 of you, because I'm not there yet. And if I ever have to be, I'm taking.
Setting the expectation right is very important. I mean, like Sonal mentioned, when you are, about to get married, or when you are considering a partner, maybe discussing these things are very important initially. But then I feel just before you get onto your motherhood journey, even then, right? Like talking about my own self, right? Like I was not ready to get onto this journey. And that's when I had a conversation. It was a very difficult conversation that I had with both my mother-in-law and my mom, because they were more than excited and more than ready for me to become a mother, right? So, and that's when I was like, so how do I do this alone? Because I was clueless, and I had inhibitions in mind, and I didn't know how to do it well. And they supported me, and they told me that, yeah, they're going to be here with me. And they did whatever they told me that time. They did it all and more, actually. And my mother-in-law herself used to be a working professional herself, right? And she used to be a teacher for years and decades together. And she left her teaching journey, and she came here, and she was here during my delivery, and she was here for 2 years raising my daughter alongside me. So it's not the job of a mother to raise a child. That's something that I think we all, young mothers or whoever is in that journey of becoming a mother, should put this in their head, that it's not your job alone. Yeah, you are the body that nurtures a tiny human being. You are, of course, the primary caregiver, because you are giving nutrition, you're giving much more than that to your child, right? Of course, you will have the emotions that's there in place and everything else, but you need that support from your partner, of course. Equal parenting, like now it has come to light, but that's so important. Like growing up, we haven't seen that happen in our own households, right? We've seen our mother doing it, and but now our partners are evolved enough, or we have all the understanding and awareness that's there around us at the moment, and then that's how we are all together in this. I think it's not only the partners, it's also the families, both the sides family coming together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, that please.
Just one small point here.
First,
So, like people who have supporting partners, supporting families, moms, everyone around, right? Things are still sorted for them. I know a few girls, like few friends of mine, who did not have any support at all. The husband would be traveling for work, wouldn't get time to come home and support her. Mother and the family, the mother-in-law wasn't there, like she wasn't alive. So, and her mom would like stay so far, she wouldn't come, she wouldn't be able to come, and she was very old as well. So in these cases, in India, what happens, if you hire help to take care of your child, it's not seen in a good light, I would say. They would say, oh, it's a it's a fact, right? People do have help for the babies. They
yeah,
have nannies and all. That's a conscious choice that we make as mothers, that I need help. And it's okay if the help is not coming from my family because they all are busy in their lives or schedules. It's absolutely okay to hire help from outside. But don't take that pressure that okay, I would be seen as a bad mother if I hire a nanny, or if I keep a full-time help, because there are many people who still think that way, right? And they make you feel that way. So it's again a very important thing I would share with the new mothers. If you think at any point in time that you need help and you're not getting help, please don't shy away from hiring help. It will really help you. People have gone into postpartum, and I've seen like really bad things happening just because they had this guilt and the feeling in them given by others. So
that they
do
have to take
not take
care of,
those
that they
seriously.
have to take care of
Ask for
everything on
help.
their own.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely,
Ask for help. Call
absolutely.
your friends. If no, if you don't want to hire help, call your friends. Call just anyone you trust. Just call them.
I think you're right. It's seen as a sign of weakness that you are seeking help, and you're not able to handle your own baby on your own. And and is this job so important? Is this so important that you can't take care of your baby? So one important question. These are the last two questions. So this second last question that I wanted to ask you guys, and which is what I really wanted to understand, is that right now I'm talking to all three of you, when you all three of you are so radiant and glowing, and having this lovely conversation. But I'm sure there have been days where it's been so difficult, like you said, when the child is sick, or the time where you just question yourself. And how has that impacted your mental health? Do you feel that you have, and I'm sure it's not a linear line. There would be days where you feel amazing, that oh my god, I did this and I achieved this, and I'm like a badass woman. And there are days when you're just crying in the pillow thinking like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? And what keeps you going, to be honest, because this is a very generic, like a big topic to discuss, but like, what keeps your sanity intact, in that way? And are there some measures? Because I would want you guys to share this with people who are going to listen to this, so that they know it's okay. Everyone goes through this, and you're not a bad mother, and you're not like a you're like a horrible person for choosing your career, or alongside raising a baby. So what's been the journey, and what really keeps you going that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think those first 6 to 8 months for me were really like, what is this? Why do I have to do this? Right? Because there's nothing that can prepare you for what your particular journey is going to be like, right? So there are some moms, they have children, they may start sleeping the whole night at 6 months or 5 months. You just never know what you're going to get. So I think one of the things that I've had to come to terms with it. You can have that conversation with other moms, but don't make it a comparative thing. Or like, oh, your child sleeps all night, mine doesn't, I'm a bad mom. Or, is your child, eating, this kind of food yet? Yes. Oh, mine isn't, so I think also having a mental gate up in your head that says that this is this particular mom's journey. What can I take from a process perspective to implement, but not be comparative in her unique experience? And so for me, I believe in life therapy. So I've done therapy off and on for years. And so throughout my pregnancy, I made an intention to maybe heal some things that may come up, because as you're bringing another life into the world, I don't want to pass on anything that I could be holding on to that I haven't resolved. And so that first 6 to 8 months, I leaned heavily on my faith. I leaned heavily on my doula, who I had throughout my pregnancy. So she understood. She's a trained nurse, but she's also a mom and a doula. So it's like the 3-in-1 of, she knows kind of those highs and lows that you just experience just because your emotions are changing. So from a mental health perspective, I would maybe just have a friend come over for me to just take a 2-hour nap, because there's a saying of you nap when your baby naps, but that never really worked for me. And so, because it's like, oh, but I still need to, like she said, I still need to, maybe express milk. I may, need to go reorganize the diaper bag, so there's always things happening. So for me, mental health has always been really, really important. And because I built a foundation before I became a mom, I had some sort of grounding or leveling of like faith recentering, knowing to just, it's okay to request help. And I didn't know that. I thought, well, you're a mom, you're supposed to figure it out, you're supposed to know it all. But if you've never done something before, there's always a learning curve. And so sometimes you don't even know what to request. So sometimes it's like, I don't know what I need, but I need something. So can you just share space with me until I can figure it out? And that takes a lot of vulnerability, because as a career woman, especially when you're progressive, you're confident, but motherhood sometimes questions your confidence, which is a good thing because that allows you to grow.
Yeah. So like Britney mentioned, I think no two mothers are same, right? Like their journeys are different. Everybody's journey is very, very different. So comparison is, of course, is going to kill you. There's something that you'll always will have to look at somebody else and try to ape or try to be, model their motherhood, but that might not work for you. So it's very important to probably realize that your motherhood or your parenting style could be very different from somebody else. And you decide the rights and the wrongs. There's nothing right sort of parenting or bad sort of parenting. Right parenting is when you do not have a nanny, and bad parenting is when you resort to a nanny. So there's nothing like that. Whatever works for you is something that you should take control over. And if it really works and your baby is happy, your baby is well fed, is taken care of, and is not falling sick, these are the things which a mother would want. So if whoever is taking care of the child, be it the dad being a full-time dad or being at home and taking care of the child, or if you have your mom-in-law, your mother, or your nanny taking care of your child, you are at work and getting all your things done at work. But when you come back home and you know that, okay, you missed your child, maybe your child misses you too, but at least the child has been taken care of. Yeah. So I think that kind of gives you that mental, peace. But there are days when you are, you feel that you're failing, where maybe your meeting did not go well because there was something happening back at home and you're not too, focused at work. So it does happen, but how do you find, like Britney mentioned about therapy, there are things that you can resort to. It could be, if you want to talk to someone, you can seek professional help. You can also do mindfulness, gratitude. For me, guided meditation has helped a lot. The entire act of gratitude and mindfulness, that also has helped me a lot. Being grateful for things that I already have instead of thinking that, oh, I'm not being able to do both. Or maybe appreciate the fact that I'm being able to do baby steps, but I'm still being able to do the role of both together, being a perfect career woman and at the same time, maybe not perfect yet, but still being my best version of a mother that I can be.
I think when we talk about the mental health during the first few months, the reality would be everyone goes through certain kind of stress. that some are able to cope up with and some are not able to cope up with. Now, there's a difference between why something happened, why someone was not able to cope up with. There are like many reasons there could be, but how do you deal with it? Right? So I would say for like first 2 years, I did not have any help. I had family help, but not the external help because I was working from home itself, right? So I never felt the need to have help. It's only when Kian started running and then I felt I cannot match that kind of energy. I cannot run behind him. I cannot climb stairs and come back 100 times a day. That's when I asked for help from the family that I think I need to hire someone who can just run after him the entire day. Because that stage took like was very, very exhausting for me, I would say. But before that, I was able to cope up with things because first of all, I think the things are under control when kids don't like haven't started walking yet, right? You can just put them right beside you and just play with them, give them things to like, play with, some stacks to do, some numbers to put. Things were still easy for me. But when he started walking and running and climbing things, that's when I felt the maximum stress in my life, I would say. And that's when I reached out and I said, I think it's time to have help in the house. Because one day what happened, he literally opened the gate. He learned how to open the gate very early. He was just 2 years old and he climbed seventh floor. And I was running everywhere and my heart just sank and I was just crying. And, I am a bad mother. I couldn't take care of him. And then there was everyone in the house, but the guilt only came to me. Right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then things start, you are not able to sleep. You keep thinking, okay, it just takes 1 second for something bad thing to happen. What if I'm busy somewhere? What if I'm cooking someday and he just runs away somewhere and then there's car and this and that? Just 100 things came in my mind. I remember being in stress for 2 months, wasn't able to sleep because like 3, 4 times something happened. He did certain things which I thought were very, very dangerous to his life also. And that's when I got up and I spoke to my husband, and he spoke to his mother, and then his father, and then they all agreed to it. It was a long process for me to get help in the house for my child, especially because I work from home. So I'm seen, like, I'm seen as a mother who can take care of the child 24 by 7 without feeling stressed about it.
Yeah.
So, but yes, as Britney also mentioned, Mona also mentioned, it's absolutely all right to seek help. Any moment you feel stressed beyond something that you cannot take, and it starts taking a toll on your health, right? If you're not able to sleep for days thinking about certain situations, then it's like don't take it on yourself, because if mental health is very important, if you are happy and
Is it your
he
baby?
gave a special appearance.
You should have gotten him on the screen. Of course, this is about mothers.
Again went out. He saw who all are there in the meeting and then he stepped out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
I would say don't extend the time frame of your stress levels, because it's not gonna help anyone. If you are not happy, you will not be able to pass that happiness to your child. And for a child, a perfect home is just a myth. A happy home, a happy mother is what they will thrive on. So yes.
absolutely.
Love
That's
that.
that's lovely. And
Yeah.
oh, sure, we would love to say hello to him. Please get him on
Now,
the screen.
Kia, say hello. Now, Kia. And he's just shying away. He'll calmly
Yeah.
give his appearance from here and there then. Feel to
No
peekaboo.
problem. No problem at all. So just wrapping up with it's been amazing to listen to all of you when my sister's also recently become a mother. She's like a baby, just had 1 year, and she was alone in Canada. So I understand it was very difficult for her. There's no family, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, so all of that. And now I'm listening to all of you, and it does give a lot of courage to know that you can take up that journey, and it's not easy, but nothing is. But while you work your way through it, you just realize how you happens. So just to kind of wrap this up, is there something that you would like to, say to women who are either, planning to become mothers or on their journey, or just, just want to hear something that will just keep them, going? Sometimes you just scroll through content and you just see something and you just know that, that's, I'm not alone. This is completely fine. So what is that one thing that from your experiences, and it doesn't have to be like some, oh, okay, go and do that, but just something very basic that you would want to say to either new mothers or anyone listening to this, really, and knowing that it's okay, and you got this.
So there's this one advice I would start with, very legit, okay? If you follow Instagram mommy bloggers, they don't have it all sorted. They have their own struggles and they are spending good amount of time with their kids. They are doing everything that they're supposed to do with their kids, for their kids, the perfect meals that you see, but do not think that they have it all sorted. So this is one thing which when we meet, like all the friends meet, all the mommies meet, they all say, oh, have you seen her reel? The food looks so perfect. How is she able to do it? And she's always like all dressed up and the makeup is on and she's, she looks so gorgeous. I'm like, it is because they are content creators, right?
Absolutely,
They're
absolutely.
showing you what goes behind that effort. There's a lot of effort that they're putting in. Maybe they're waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning. Start waking up at 4 a.m. then. Start prepping for your day in advance. Let's start planning, weeks in advance. I think that is what they are doing if they want to create content and manage babies and manage homes, right? So I think planning. Second advice would be planning. If you have work, have baby, home to take care of, plan your things in advance. Planning helps. Planning has helped me. Even the menu is planned 1 week in advance. So that is how I've been able to figure things out. And for 2 years, I did not take care of my nails or my skin or my hair. I did not even go for haircut like for six months in a row. But now that he's 3, I'm sorted. I learned to plan things. I learned it from other people. I implemented things in my life, and now it's very quite sorted, I would say. I'm 75% there, but it's not
That's
impossible. And don't give up. Don't give up on your career, your dreams, anything that you want to do. Just plan things well in advance.
That's lovely, Sonal. I'm taking that from you for whenever I need it. Not go by the fake standards on Instagram reel is what got me. That's a life advice. That's
I'm
not just.
an Instagram blogger. I do create content with my baby,
I
and
love it.
yeah, I'm mostly judged by a lot of people. I mean, also as compliments, I get stuff like, "Okay, your life looks so perfect on Instagram. How do you manage it all? How do you balance it all?" But it's just that it looks very good on those Instagram stories and the posts. But what goes beyond the Instagram posts and the stories is the real thing, right? So
Absolutely.
even my lot of support I got from my husband to to be able to create content on Instagram, and that's how you plan and you create content at the same time taking care of the baby. So on a Saturday and a Sunday, you know that you're spending a lot of time with your child. Do you also get to shoot with her, or you maybe put her to nap and then you go and quickly do your shoot and come back before her nap time is over, right? So all that planning goes behind if you are a content creator and also a mom. But I don't think I can give an advice, but it can be something very personal that I can share about myself, what has worked for me. I don't think there's a rule book when it comes to motherhood. So just write your own rules. There's no right and wrong, and you can make mistakes. You're allowed to make mistakes because you're doing this for the first time. You can always see your friends or your other people in your family do it, but when you become a mother for the first time, that's when you learn from your own journey by doing something and knowing that it's not getting right. So you try and do it differently the next time. So that's all. I think you're allowed to make mistakes, and please do not think that your life is ending after being a mother. Your career is ending after being a mother. Your dreams and your aspirations, your side hustles, and no, nothing ends. You just need to have different perception to the entire motherhood journey that you've just had. So I would just say that, I mean, just have fun and don't think so much. I mean, motherhood is cool. It's pretty cool and pretty bad when you decide on a Friday evening that somebody takes care of your child and you just go out and let your head down and maybe party with your friends, and don't feel guilty. You can come back and maybe spend some time with your baby, or next morning you can give that quality time to your baby. So yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
amazing. That's lovely.
When we take over, I have just one more thing to add that Mona said. If someday, if on a Wednesday, let's say you feel like today I don't want to do anything, let it go. Don't do anything. Just chill, watch a movie, give yourself some time, and don't feel guilty about it. Because on Thursday, you will be back on your toes and with lots of power, energy, and good vibes. So if your
Yeah.
body is telling you rest, rest, and don't feel
Rest.
guilty about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love
Well,
that. One thing that I would leave with moms is just the one word that comes to mind is just acceptance, because you're trying to hold on to the woman you were before you were a mom, but that one woman no longer exists in its entirety, right? You're still a person, but there's a transformation that happens when you bring life into the world. And so you have to accept who you are now and the differences that come with that acceptance, right? So I remember being in Zoom meetings and wanting to apologize because my son needs me. So I have matured to the point that if my son needs me and he happens to be home, I'm just communicating to you that my son is here. I'm not asking for permission, right? So acceptance and release that it has to look a certain way, it has to feel a certain way. Literally every day is going to be different. But on those days where you really get it right, celebrate yourself. On the days you don't, you give yourself grace. And don't let anyone make you feel a certain way about your decisions. Sometimes we have a thought of like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then we get someone else's perspective and then we change what we really want to do. So if you know something is true in your core is best for you, you make that choice and no one else has to agree with it. And just rock out. Just rock out.
That's lovely.
Motherhood is cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Motherhood, that's what I'm going to put as the teaser line. Motherhood is cool, and I'm going to like put you all with like glasses and making a pose. I think that's lovely. Thank you so much for being a part. Actually, these were the perspectives that I really wanted people to know of and know that we also speak from when Mona said that you are a content creator and you speak of what it really means, which is also a very important thing that people think that, okay, this is the good side, or the side that, okay, she's a working woman, she wouldn't take care of the kid, she motherly instincts nahi hai. That's basically the line, that she doesn't have motherly instincts, and and a lot of that, and I really wanted to kind of have a perspective from three different women doing kick-ass jobs, doing whatever you guys do, and being so um unapologetic about your decisions, and thank you so much for sharing them here, and thank you so much for being a part of this.
Brittany,
Bye-bye.
have a great day. Bye, Mona Isa.
Bye.
Have a good evening.
No,
Bye, Simble.